Anthony, are we live, or you can let us know?
Yep, I'll let you know in 1 second. We're about to be live.
Buffering.
Okay, we are live.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending our regular board agenda meeting scheduled for today, Thursday, May the 16th at 6:30 p.m. I would ask for a roll call vote to open the meeting, please.
Armada,
Here.
Bearden,
Here.
Heidel,
Here.
Hilton,
Here.
Kansai, here, Johnson, Klein, Lawrence, here, Spence, 6 present, 3 absent. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Moment of silence, please. And the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving into presentations, Mr. Rodriguez, please.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the board, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce the Executive Director for the Foundation for Pottstown Education, who, as you know, annually visits us in the month of May, and I will let him tell you what you're about to see.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Thank you, board members, for inviting us. This is, not that I'm not always happy to see you, but this is one of the most pleasant times where I get to introduce to you our graduates for the early college program and give you our foundation's annual update. Just a brief history, and I know those of you that have been here have heard this before. This initiative was started in 2014 with a dual enrollment program at Pottstown High School in conjunction with Montgomery County Community College. This year's class of 24, is our 10th cohort. It is also the largest cohort that we are graduating. We have 21 students that are going to be graduating this year. In our history, we've had 116 students, and that counts the 21 that are graduating this year, go through the program. 114 of those students have gone on to higher education, either trade school, community college, or a 4-year college, or gone into the military. Every year, I like to take the list of where the students are going to college and apply the credits that they have earned through this program and apply their tuition. This year, we topped $500,000. So the students have earned in tuition alone $567,400 versus paying it at the colleges that they will be going to this fall. Also included is textbooks, which is almost $4,000 that was paid that they don't have to pay. This does not count room and board. So think of the significant savings that they have. As I said, there's 21 students, largest cohort. They have earned 334 credits combined at a total cost of $32,309 in tuition. This number, believe it or not, even though our numbers are going up, will drop because thankfully, Montgomery County Community College has changed the tuition program for dual enrollment. The current year, the credits for dual enrollment are $209 per credit, which means it'd be $627 for a 3-credit class. But because they're dual enrollment students, the class fee is $209. So we're saving 67%. That enables us now to take on more students and bring on more students, and you'll hear about that in a minute for a new class. Also, 3 students that are not enrolled in this program that are part of the Pottstown High School were able to earn credits through medical terminology class that was taught at the high school. And the foundation paid for those credits as well. In just a second, I'm gonna ask the graduating seniors to step up and introduce themselves. They are gonna tell you what college they're planning on going to, as well as what major that they're going to make. 9% of the graduating class is here. That's a huge number. 9% have earned extra credits through the early college program. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Elizabeth to come up first, then introduce herself, and then we'll go right through.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Adedeji, and I am going to Villanova University and studying accounting. Hello and good evening, everyone. My name is Layla Bearden, and I will be attending Duquesne University, and I will be majoring in nursing.
Hey everyone, my name is Emily. I'm going to be majoring in nursing at the University of Pennsylvania. Hello everyone, my name is Angelina and I'm attending Temple University majoring in biology.
Hi, everyone. My name is Regina Fleming, and I'm going to Lehigh University studying electrical engineering.
I am just speaking for Kaylee Laughlin here because she's not feeling well today. She is going to be attending Arizona State University and majoring in biology.
My name is Jacob Fry. I'm attending St. James University for pharmaceutical marketing.
My name is Ashley Ormston. I will be going to Montgomery County Community College and I will be pursuing healthcare. I'm Savannah Richards. I'm going to Concordia to major in biology.
Not all of our graduates are here with us tonight because of other commitments. But on that slide, you see the picture of all of the class of 2024 with their college and their major attached there. I'm excited to also announce the cohort 12, the current sophomores who are coming in as juniors for the class of 2026. There are 26 students, our largest class ever. We're really excited to have them come in. On May 1st, we had the orientation with their parents and talking about the program, and they signed their contract. All 26 of the students were there. This past Monday, we had the registration. All of the students, when they start, take in the fall semester English 101 and Introduction to Psychology. I have to look at Ms. Lawrence. I keep wanting to say Introduction to Sociology, but I know if I look at you, I know what it is.
Team site.
Yes. So they will be starting in this fall. Some of them may be taking courses over the summer as well. I'm going to go into a brief review of the current year. We still have a month and a half left of our fiscal year. I'm pleased to announce that so far at the end of April, our donors have provided $250,000 to the students and teachers of the Pottstown School District, funding various programs and purchasing of equipment. Going to go through a couple of these. The first one, in the fall, I was talking to Kelly Wolfel, who knows I'm always looking for teachers to give us suggestions of how the money can be spent. She told me that it was Hispanic Heritage Month, and they tried to pull a display of books out, and they had limited resources. So we pulled together all 4 of the librarians, the 2 for elementary school, the 1 for middle school, and 1 for high school. They were tremendous to work with. We wrote a grant to secure funding to provide almost 2,800 books on diversity. So there are books written in other language, there are books written in English about the different cultures that we have in our schools. The books are now out on the shelves. They were cataloged. They're on the shelves. The students were able to sign them out. And here's a few comments from some of the students at Barth Elementary. I was fortunate to take the executive director of the Justimere Foundation, who provided the funding, to Barth to meet with the students. I just think these are really neat quotes. It looks like me and he's a fast runner. This character looks like me. I'm interested in learning about Chinese New Year because it's different and I'd like to learn about it. And I love all of these because it's one of my favorite books. So here they get to see kids that actually look like them in our library now. This, oh, you went ahead. No, you didn't. I'm sorry. I went ahead. Sorry, Michelle. My fault. One of the biggest needs this year is, and I spoke to you all about this last year at this time, is funding for field trips, transportation. So far, we've raised $19,200 to provide field trips to our students. And here are the list of some of the field trips that we've either provided the funding for or have already approved, and they will be going, like the middle school is going next week up to the Reading Phillies Educational Days. They actually learn about geography there because they talk to the players and learn what state and what country they're from. They're taught how to do statistics for baseball. So there is education with it, and let's face it, it's fun. And they need to have fun at this time of year. So all of those field trips are listed there. The scholarships this past week, sorry. Oh. Go the other way. Okay, I have it here in front of me, but we'll talk about it. This past week, we were at the senior recognition night, but we provide scholarships not only for seniors, we provide for fourth graders going into middle school and in the middle school as well. There's 89 scholarships that are awarded. This year, it will total $44,200. 51 senior awards, 2 middle school awards, and 36 elementary awards. So we're thankful to our donors for providing the funding for that. We also announced, and you may have seen in the Mercury a week ago, we've announced a new initiative to try to keep this foundation financially solvent for the future. It's called Planned Giving. It's a legacy gift, and we call it the 1881 Society. We have announced that program, and in probably another week, I'm going to announce a big announcement that we've had our first 2 donors to that program. They have provided for us in their will, and so the foundation in the future will be recipient from that. The last thing to tell you about is our board at the April meeting changed the name of our women's sports fund to the Gene Whistler Sports Fund in recognition of Coach Wiss, who passed away this past August. Very beloved coach. We're doing a campaign this month to raise funds for the women's sports. We did provide funding at our last board meeting for the women's basketball team to go to Elizabethtown College for a clinic, a week-long clinic. So all that will be paid for the students. And at this month's meeting, we're going to vote on providing additional funding for them to participate in the summer league. One of our donors provided funding for the Gene Whistler Fund, but earmarked half of that funding to go for them to go to the leagues. There's a lot more happening, but I know you have business to take care of. And I just wanted to highlight some of the things, but our biggest highlight, they're sitting behind me, and we're very proud of these students. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rusevich, for everything the foundation does for our students and our district as a whole. And thank you, students, for the effort that you put in. Dual enrollment, it was an amazing opportunity for our students, and you took full advantage. And so I appreciate the efforts that you put in to make our district continue to be one of those places we can say we're proud to be from Pottstown. So thank you. Have a good evening. And Board, we will be exiting this room, public as well. We will be exiting for purposes of an executive session. The purposes will be for personnel and special education. So if you could please adjourn and
No, because this is.
we will resume in a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will go back to our meeting.
Can you hear us now?
You're good.
Okay, we seem to have lost Mr.
Mr. Wilson? Well, we're live and
Yeah, but
he and Mr. Hilton will join us. So we will move forward. Thank you, audience, virtually and in person, for your patience. We will move forward with minutes, please, Mrs. Zerko.
Madam President, I would like to present the minutes from the regular board meeting held on April 18th, 2024.
Thank you. List of bills and treasurer's report, please, Mrs. Johnson.
Madam President, I would like to present the list of bills and the treasurer's report from April 2024.
Thank you very much. Moving into committee reports. We have policy and personnel for Mr. Klein, and I will stand in for him unless you would like to, Mr. Evans.
I don't have it.
Okay.
So sorry.
So we reviewed policy 707, use of school facilities, as well as policy 202, eligibility of non-resident students. But we talked about the personnel and registered behavior technician positions, a new district position instead of hiring outside. Mr. Jeffries gave some intensive behavior support information to support students in-house, as well as a request was made for an in-house psychologist to be compensated at market value, current evaluation, versus the contracted school psychologist amount. And request to move forward for tonight's committee of the whole. We had informational session items for recruitment and retention of Black educators in our district. And items number 16 through 22 were reviewed. And our next meeting date will be June the 6th, 2024. That said, we'll move right into curriculum and co-curriculars. Mrs. Lawrence, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. We had a presentation from Mr. Oxenford presenting with us the curriculum asks that we're going to be voting on, I believe, tonight. So he gave us a little bit of information about all those with some feedback from the teachers who checked them out. So we are going to be voting on the flashlight program for language arts, reveal for math, study sync, code HS, which is science and impact and social studies, world history for grades 6, 7, and 8. The total curriculum resource cost is $692,774. It is budgeted mostly through ESSER or all through ESSER and Ready to Learn funding. And then we also had an informational item from Mr. Rodriguez where he talked about the idea of a lunch and learn proposal for the high school. That this has been done in other schools with success. So we're looking at possibly starting this next year. But we need to do a little bit of reshaping the environments there, especially in the cafeteria. But the idea would be that the students would be able to have lunch in other areas in the first floor, and then have part of that time for some of the different club meetings and other kinds of learning activities. So I guess we'll hear more about that as we go along. And that's it.
Wonderful. That's nice. I really like that idea. Glad we're working on it. Now move into facilities and finance, please, with Mr. Hilton.
Thank you, Ms. Spearman. So we saw a presentation by Peggy Lou Clark, Director of PAID, about what they have been doing in Pottstown and this year. We had a facilities update. We were going to be spending $180,000 for some weight room equipment. Mr. Willauer reported on the annual lead flushing update, which is required by the Department of Ed. And then we moved into finance, and we talked about an agreement with CMD, our bus provider. Going to be paying a little bit more for bus runs, administrative fees, hourly rates. And then we talked about the grocery outlet Pottstown tennis project and some standard MCIU technology stuff. And then we moved into Homestead Farmstead program. And then we walked about the final budget, which we'll be adopting tonight. And considering, consists of a zero tax increase and the use of fund balance so that we don't have to do that. Homestead Farm Step is up this year from last year to $670 per qualified parcel. And the tax relief program for homeowners and renters that only Maureen Jampo and Laura Johnson understand, but whatever your recommendation is. So, then Mrs. Johnson graciously agreed to be treasurer for another year. And we're going to be, awarding a furniture bid, which is not written down here, but I think it's in the vicinity of $300,000. And we were all in agreement of moving forward with it. And, then Laura Johnson gave a very thorough explanation of the proposed state fair funding boost, complete with a chart.
Provided by you.
And that was it.
Okay, I'm gonna use Mrs. Lawrence's computer because I'm having some user error issues here.
No worries. Thank you, Ms.
Um,
Johnson.
So, the Public Relations and Community Engagement Committee meeting, we went over some highlights from, particularly social media from the last month, different things that had happened in the district. And I'm not gonna just read it all, but you know, we had high school, and middle school music events, arts events, all kinds of great end of the year things going on, at all of our schools, including our elementary schools. And some photos from, advocacy, which I'll touch on a little bit more in my other report. Mr. Rodriguez went over, Hattie's List, which is a metadata analysis of all of the things that we might try in schools, or we might look at how they affect education and how effective, or in some cases, counter-effective they are for improving students' learning outcomes. Then we had a discussion about year-round school, which the consensus of the board was that when we say that, we mean the same number of days, just distributed differently over the 12 months of the year, so as to help avoid summer learning loss. Lots of discussion about that. At the end of the day, we were saying more research is needed about whether this would be effective in Pottstown or could be effective in Pottstown, and we decided to revisit it in a few months. Advocacy, did a little update on that. And that was mostly just to note that there was gonna be a tax forum put on by Power Interfaith. That was last night. It was extremely well attended. And that was that committee. My other report would be for the county, school district or school director legislative committee. That breakfast was a few weeks ago now. Mr. Rodriguez and some others spoke, including Rep. Cerisi and State Senator Pennycook, all just discussing school funding and all things at the intersection of legislation and education. After that, there was a press conference where Elizabeth Adedeji did an awesome job speaking. I was so impressed, and Mr. Rodriguez did as well as a number of board members, or not board members, superintendents and students from around the county, just speaking about the need for fair funding, about the need for basically supporting this year's budget. And that is all I have.
Thank you very much. Moving into PSBA representative report, Mrs. Canciani, please.
Yes, PSBA has a good article on the upcoming changes to the PSSA and the Keystones. They're moving them online. And I believe in 2026, they still will have the paper option for people who need that. On May 21st, there is a Right to Know Law webinar that looked pretty interesting. You can register for that on the portal. They have a program starting its PSBA Alliance Partner Webinar Series where you can learn about financial strategies, mastering facilities, trauma, and data-driven decision-making. That's also, you can register for that on the portal as well. The delegate assembly is November 2nd. My recommendation for our delegates would be Laura Johnson and myself. And I'm hoping it can be on the June 20th agenda for us to vote on. That'd be great. That's it, thank you.
Thank you very much. MCIU report from Mrs. Lawrence, please.
Yes, we had our presentation, this month was a little bit of a review of Project Aware. I think it's its first year, and that stands for Advancing Wellness and Resiliency in Education. It's a mental health type of, program that helps with training and screenings for both staff and students, I believe, as well as suicide prevention programs for students. So I think my understanding was it was piloted for a few schools, so I love the idea of us looking into connecting more with that too. Also, they discussed a couple of things we had to approve. They were discussing the Perk Valley and MCIU have been working, I guess, together. MCIU is going to be running a actual youth detention center, which will be dealing with up to 48 students between 13 and 21 years old. So that's supposed to be getting started, I believe, in August. And also we were approved their application. They're applying to start an early Head Start program, which would deal with kids under age 3, infants and toddler programs. So we'll see if we get the approval for that. And then the annual golf outing is actually on Monday. That's their fundraiser. So if anybody still wants to do that, I guess not too late.
Great, could you, the 13 to 21-year-olds, what was that program?
It's a youth detention center
Okay.
that, Perk Valley is, I guess it's relating with them, but MCIU staff are going to run, so they're going to hire staff to help with this program. So there wasn't a lot of detail, but that was the gist of it.
Okay, thank you. And now our student board representative, Elizabeth, would you, on behalf of yourself and College Girls.
Thank you, Madam President, and good evening, board members. I would like to start my very lengthy report in the high school level. In our City East students, 4 students qualified for the Nationals in Anaheim, California, from April 27th to May 1st for DECA. And 2 students qualified and will compete at Nationals in Houston, Texas, from June 23rd to the 30th for HOSA. For our co-curriculars, our high school winter sport finished with a strong showing in the postseason. One of our boys wrestlers, Evan Smith, qualified for regionals. In our inauguration season for girls wrestling, 2 of our wrestlers, Vida Torres and Savannah Richards, Savannah was here today, and they both qualified for the first ever PIAA Girls Wrestling State Championship. Our boys basketball team finished 6th place in districts and earned them a state playoff, which hasn't happened since 2008. So that was a big accomplishment. For our seniors, so there was a senior survey that went out to survey what's going to happen after graduation. And we got 150 responses, and out of the 150, 66 are going to a 4-year college after. And then 33 are going to a 2-year college, so a community college. At least 2 students in that report are going to the military after high school. And as Mr. Riziowicz said, there are 22 early college program students. Also, recently, this week, there were thousands and thousands of scholarships that was given out to students, including the senior award that happened this past Tuesday. These are just the following colleges that the students got, that our students are committed to going: Temple, Villanova, Lehigh, UPenn, Penn State, Widener, Pitt, and Drexel, and at least half of the PA State School. At least 10 students are going there debt-free. So that's a great accomplishment. In our middle school, they have an activities night for the 5th graders. They had a basketball tournament, and they also had a soccer tournament. And for the elementary schools, get ready to lock. Rupert, from April 19th, they had a kindergarten tea with me. There was also PSSA testings for 3rd and 4th graders. The 23rd, that was the 2nd grade trip to the Reading Museum. The 21st, the 1st grade trip to the Schuylkill Valley Park, I believe, yes. And the April 30th was the Rupert Rockstar Assembly. May 6th is the Art and Music Night. May 8th is the spring concert. May 14th at 11:30 is the reading picnic. Also, May 14th, from 4 to 7 is the 4 Dairy Queen Night, which I believe is a fundraiser. May 16th is a bike to school day. May 29th, which is coming up next week, is the 4th grade awards and recognition. For Barth, I believe they have a school field trip to the Philadelphia Zoo. They have a field day, they have a 4th grade award show at the 13th of May, so theirs is passed. They have the Peacemaker Award. The 3rd grades and 4th grade, they had a pool trip. There was also water day for grades K to 12. They have a quality club April. And for May, the 4th grade went to a trip at the Cole Brookdale Railroad. There was a safety field trip at Urban Air. They had a spring concert. They had an art and music night. And they also had an award, which also took place on the 13th. For Franklin, May 14th, 2 days ago, was the spring concert. May 15th is the spring day art and music night. May 20th to the 24th is the book fair. May 22nd at 5:30 p.m. is the ice cream social. May 23rd at 9:30 p.m. is the 4th grade award, which is also coming up next week. And May 29th is the Franklin reading picnic from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. For Lincoln, May 3rd is the PK family engagement activities, which I believe they were planting flowers. May 9th is the safety patrol trip to Urban Air. May 10th is the PSSA DJ party for 3rd and 4th graders. May 14th is the kindergarten family engagement activities, also with lunch with parents. May 15th is the 1st grade family engagement activity. May 16th is the art and music night. May 21st is the 4th grade trip to the Reading Police. May 21st, which I believe Mr. Rosewich did mention. May 21st is also the kindergarten field trip to Hendon House. May 21st is also the sharing our culture for ESL families from all 4 elementary buildings. May 21st also is the Title I summer slide activity. So there's a lot of things going on May 21st. May 28th is the 2nd grade family engagement activities. May 30th is field day, and then May 31st for Lincoln, is the award ceremony at 9:30 a.m. And the last thing I have is our graduation ceremony for all districts will be 30th of May at 6 p.m. And that concludes my report for this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Appreciate it. Congratulations, by the way. Report of the superintendent, Mr. Rodriguez, please.
Thank you again, Madam President. Board members, I wish to give you a very brief state of the district. Don't worry, it will be brief. And I would say Elizabeth definitely took a lot of my steam. As you can see, we are extremely busy in the Pottstown School District doing a lot of good things. And my message this year has been pretty consistent. When we have more, we can do a lot more, and we are doing a lot more. Just as things that I know that we have talked about at the committee and board level, we are ending year 1. In fact, we had one of the trainings in this very room 2 hours ago. Year 1 of our cultural proficiency training. And even I would say that I underestimated, and my expectations were pretty high, but I underestimated how good it has been. And we're looking forward to year 2. Year 1 of Power School implementation, which was very much like visiting the dentist and being told it would be 20 minutes, but in fact, it was 2.5 hours. Power School integration has been painful and difficult, but we believe we are at a much better place, and we are also believing that year 2, our parents are going to be much more engaged because we've got the kinks worked out. Year 1 of some of our Linkit and Edmentum products that you have been hearing about and maybe seeing some charts from me, and you'll see more of, but it is helping us to be better practitioners of education. Year 2 of foundations, and you all know foundations has been very successful. Year 2 of the house model, and year 3 of a bunch of other programs that we have been using. And again, today in this very room, I was able to, no, I'm sorry, that was yesterday. I was able to witness some of the results of our testing. One of the things we did was we gave ourselves an instructional pre-test. So the beginning of the year, we knew that that was gonna be the test of where are our kids in every single grade level, kindergarten through 8th grade. And then we gave that exact same test at the end of the year. In fact, the beginning of this week. And the results are remarkable. Doesn't mean that we don't have room to grow. We most certainly do. But we have been doing, I think, an outstanding job, and a lot of credit goes to our students first and our staff after that. So we are looking forward to gearing up for next year this summer. So thank you for indulging me in that. On the agenda tonight for consent topics are numbers 9 through 18. We also have several non-consent topics that we will address when we get there. But as usual, we'll tag team some of these events, beginning first with personnel. Mr. Boyer.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Good evening again, school board members. 9.1, resignations and terminations. We have 3 professional and 5 classified. 10.1, professional leaves. We have 2 professional and 1 exempt. 11.1, change in position and salary. We have 3 professional and 1 salary adjustment. 12.1, elections. We have 1 administrative, which would be a correction, 1 professional and 2 exempt. 12.2, updated non-co-curricular assignments, which you'll see in the attachment are the updates as presented for your approval. 13.1, mentor assignments. You'll see in the attachment the mentors, assigned mentors as presented for your approval. 14.1, you'll see policy 202, which is eligibility of non-resident students, recommended for your approval.
Number 15 is hours of operation. As a reminder to board members, we approve this every single year. And it is basically the start and stop times of our students at each level. And I'm not recommending any changes. We change rarely. This is just a continuation of what we have been doing. Item number 16, curriculum adoption, was already covered by Mrs. Lawrence in the report for curriculum, and it is as presented there, the requests as well as information. Mrs. Urquhart.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Good evening, board members. There's several contracts for your consideration tonight. First one is the grocery outlet Pottstown tennis course proposal, which involves grocery outlet entering into a 3-year contract to receive naming rights to the tennis courts at Pottstown High School. As part of the agreement, grocery outlet will receive multiple marketing opportunities, including being allowed to place 2 windscreens on the tennis court and set up marketing booths at home varsity sporting events. In return for these privileges, grocery outlet will pay the district $5,000 per year minus associated costs. The second contract is with Montgomery County Intermediate Unit. There are 7 different agreements here, which provide technology and child accounting support to the district for the 2024-2025 school year. The third contract is an addendum with the Vanguard School. It provides extended school year and related services to eligible students during the month of July 2024. And then the final contract here is the Lermel contract that provides educational tutoring services to hospitalized students and students in a behavioral health setting for the 2024-2025 school year.
Yes,
the 4
please.
contracts. Okay, so the next, there's a bid award for furniture for the high school lunch and learn program, which we've heard a bit about already, for the middle school and for Lincoln. This furniture is being completely funded by the ESSER grant. We're using Office Service Company. We need to approve an RFP for furniture purchases for the buildings. The total purchase cost is $307,598.
Thank you very much. Do we have any hearings from the patrons for the general and consent signed in, please? Thank you so much. We'll start with in person, and I would just like to remind everyone that only opportunity is for resident or taxpayer to address the board. So please refrain from addressing any individual board members, and please remember that the board will not respond to any questions posed. Rather, the administration will gather any necessary information and respond to your question or forward response to your attention. Please, as always, as you know, but be reminded to provide us with your full name and address prior to addressing the board and be as brief as possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Doug Slick, 474 North Evans Street. I will not speak long. I'm here specifically to talk to you this evening about the healthcare occupation program at the high school. As a retired healthcare personnel myself, I've volunteered in that classroom for maybe 8-10 years, a couple times a year. And I've watched the teacher of the year from last year, Michaela Richardson. I still think of her as Johnson. Michaela Richardson has built that program into a stellar program. She graduates people who are working in healthcare. Many go on to become registered nurses and, with a full college degree. It's a very popular program, very successful. She has brought it from crumbs to actual state-of-the-art level. They have incredible equipment in there. Everything is, what we see in the hospitals and in the doctor's offices today. When I walked in, initially the bed that they used to demonstrate techniques to the students was a crank bed, like from 1950s. I mean, this is serious. It really was, it was crazy. And she's got like 4 or 5 state-of-the-art beds now. My point is, and the reason that brought me to speak tonight is because the last time I spoke to her, she broke my heart by saying that she has to turn away students. They do not have the facility to take all of the students who want to join her program. Some of the students, according to the block scheduling thing, which I don't really understand how that works, but I understand it's very complicated. Some of them start the program and cannot advance because there's not physical space for her to teach all of the students. And I know that you all are on board with wanting to do better and helping her in any way possible. I'm just doing my part as a community member to say, rah, rah, let's do that. Because she deserves it, the students deserve it. And I know it's a tough ask, but you guys make the big bucks, so you gotta make the hard choice. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sticker. Appreciate it. Do we have any patrons signed in virtually, please?
Yes, we do.
Please let me know when they're in the room. If someone is talking, they're on mute.
Good evening. Can y'all hear me?
And now, thank you so much. Could you please, I think you know the drill, but if you could please give us your name and address.
Mercedes. Yes, ma'am. Mercedes Jackson, East High Street, Pottstown, PA.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So I just wanted to agree with what Mr. Rodriguez said earlier in regards when he said that when Pottstown School District has more, we do more, and I do agree with that. Normally I'm in every meeting here, but I haven't even been able to attend because I've been engaged with other things in the district. I appreciate that. I definitely see the positive impact that it takes on the community and the children as well. Another thing that I wanted to say too is, just going out to other parents and caregivers of children, when you go up to the school and, if there's any issue with any kid, just come in and ask questions and just build those relationships instead of coming in, hot on fire. Get your facts together first. Just think of it as ordering food at a restaurant. You're not going to piss off the waitress, right, who's making your food. So I want people to have that same concept when you're coming into a building with people who is taking care of your children, educating your children. So come up with a unity mindset. Get the facts so we can work together, because I strongly feel that we are better together. Also, FAC, I'm just going to tell people, get your daubers ready and your markers ready, because, before the back to school year, we're going to have some events coming up again to get the kids and families excited to get their education with all the awesome things that the Pottstown District has to offer. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Appreciate it. Any other patrons signed in?
Not at this time, Madam President.
Thank you very much. Looking for board action on the minutes, list of bills and treasurer's report. Is there any communication needed on same? Okay, then I would ask for a motion to accept.
So moved.
Second. Thank you, Mr. Amato. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Moving on to board consent items 9 through 18. Looking for board action. Could I have a motion to accept?
So moved. Second.
Roll call vote, please, Mr. Curran.
Johnson.
Aye.
Kansiani.
Aye.
Klein. Lawrence.
Aye.
Spence. Armada.
Aye.
Bearden.
Aye.
Heidel.
Aye.
Hilton.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays, 2 absent. Motion carried.
Thank you. So we will move into the non-consent items, starting with Mr. Boyer, please.
Thank you, Ms. Bearden. Item 22.1, policy 707. You'll see the recommended changes that are in the document would be number 37, number 38, and number 39 have been added or adapted. And I will refer to Mr. Rodriguez if you want to explain what the action will be.
Yes, board members, we've discussed this at committee a few times, have not come to consensus, although we've certainly heard each other. My recommendation has not changed to adopt these, the new verbiage 37, 38, and 39, is that correct?
Yeah.
So just to be clear, because I know we're going back and forth, and your vote might seem counterintuitive. So in order to be very, very clear, when Mrs. Bearden calls for it, a vote, a yes vote or approval or aye will mean that we are codifying into the policy that there will be no funerals, as well as the other changes that are listed there. So that would be no funerals would be allowed in facilities. However, if you vote no, nay, or anything else other than aye, because it always counts as a no vote, that means that you are indicating that you wish funerals to occur if requested there. So I just wanted to make sure that there was clarity, because again, it's counterintuitive. A yes vote means no funerals. A no vote means yes to funerals. That's all I have for that item.
Thank you very much. Moving on to non-consent, Mrs. Burkhart.
So you want a roll call?
No.
Actually,
Oh, I'm
to
sorry.
discuss, that's okay.
I'm sorry.
What's the
So
actual
the
item?
weight room equipment, okay. The district is buying, weight room equipment. It's going to replace old and donated equipment. It'll be used by the district sports teams. The purchase is $179,000 and is completely funded by an ESSER grant.
Thank you. You can continue.
And then, we also have the CMD agreement for 2024-25. This is a continuation of the transportation agreement with CMD that we have in place already. And Homestead Farmstead exclusion resolution. This is an update to the Homestead Farmstead exclusion resolution. It contains an annual approval for homeowners in the district to get a tax rebate.
Number
And then 26.1 is, Mrs. Oakley has provided a video reviewing the 2024-25 budget, which
So-
will be presented.
Yes.
Mr. Santiago, can you please play the video from Mrs. Oakley?
Good evening, board members. Tonight for your consideration is the 2024-2025 Pottstown School District final budget. Back in April, we approved the preliminary budget adoption, and there are no significant changes since last month. Tonight, we will be looking to adopt our budget along with the Homestead Farmstead Resolution. Our 2024 certified tax duplicate is $758,342,862. Our 24-25 budget assumes a 0% tax increase, state revenues at 50% of the governor's proposal, a PA property tax rebate program at 75% of the state program, as well as no programmatic changes, including elementary counselors, our MTSS program, virtual coaches, and our middle school house model. The governor proposed $23.5 million for our basic ed subsidy, and this budget assumes $21.5 million of basic ed revenue. The majority of our expenses are composed of salaries and benefits, followed by transportation and tuition, professional services, supplies, and bonds, and pass-through pre-K counts funds. Back in March, we were looking at a budget shortfall of about $128,000. We were able to reduce that to $37,636, which we would use to balance our budget with fund balance. Our revenues are $84,777,136, and our expenditures are $84,814,772. Historically, we have not increased our millage, and our current millage is 41.96. The Homestead Farmstead rebate for 24-25 will be applicable to the 3,664 approved homesteads, which will pass a reduction of $670.55 onto each approved homestead tax bill. The reduction in assessed value is $15,980. It's up about $109 from the 23-24 homestead rebate. Included with this budget is also piggybacking off of the PA property tax rent rebate program, which is applicable to all homeowners and renters that meet the age and income criteria of the state program. Currently, the state program has a maximum rebate of $1,000 and includes rebates up to $380 for those with household income of less than $45,000 annually. The Pottstown property tax rent rebate program will be available at 75% of the state's program, which will pass through rebates to our approved homeowners and renters in the amount of $285 to $750, depending on the income qualifications. We allocated $800,000 for property tax rebates for 2024-2025. The state program has increased their income threshold to $45,000. We will rebate based on the base amount plus the supplements for 2024-2025 budget, which will be based off of the 2023 tax year. Our fund balance, total fund balance is $27,712,902, which $6,394,253 is unassigned. So just to recap, our 24-25 budget as presented tonight assumes a 0% tax increase, the implementation of the PA property tax rent and rebate program for Pottstown residents, and will have the usage of $37,636 $100,000 of fund balance to balance our budget. Thank you for your consideration.
So that would be our final budget as presented. Mrs. Oakley. So we are moving forward to the non-consent item for election of board treasurer. We would need, in accordance to section 404 of the school code, to annually elect a treasurer to serve for a one-year term beginning on the first day of July following such an election. And the treasurer's upcoming term would run from July 1st, 2024 to June 30th of 2025. I would ask then for nomination and then to run its proper course of vote. As was earlier mentioned, Mrs. Johnson did confirm that she would be willing to rerun if the rest of the board was in agreement and no one else wanted that position. So moving forward, we have non-consent settlement agreement. Mr. Kalis, please.
Good evening, Madam President. On the agenda for this evening are actually two settlement agreements, both of which were reviewed with the board as part of the executive session held earlier this evening. 28.1 involves a settlement, confidential settlement stipulation involving a special education matter. Item number 28.2 is a confidential settlement agreement involving a pending charge before the EEOC.
Thank you very much. Do we have any hearings from the patrons? And that would be limited to non-consent items only. Anyone in-house? Thank you. And anyone virtually signed in for non-consent items, please?
Not at this time, Madam President.
Thank you very much. So we will move into board action. Please let me know if any communication is needed on any of these items. We will go through them individually and we will do a vote for them individually as usual. We will start with 30.1 policy. That is policy 707. If I could please have any dialogue needed. If no dialogue, I will ask for a motion. Yes, Ms.
I just want to make them repeat what I've said. I do think it's a mistake is if we're supporting our community, I do think we should allow services there if that's what is required. And the reason I'm saying that, as I said before, I do think there's a healing component to that. It's a community thing, especially when in the past, those services have traditionally been with people that are either very well known in the community and or part of the school. And I think that's important because there really is no other place in Pottstown that can hold that number of people, if that would be the thing that would be appropriate. Absolutely, it can be a hard thing for students at times or anyone, but that's why we have our counselors and that's why we have the mental health. And that's part of the idea in trauma counseling is to help work through those things, not to just avoid them. But I think the flip side of it is there is tremendous healing potential for that. And that's why I think that it should be something we allow.
Okay. Mr. Amato.
I concur with Mrs. Lawrence. I believe that it is an opportunity for the district to bond and build stronger relationships with our community. It's something that we have been doing for at least as long as I can remember, in all shapes and forms, both in buildings and out of buildings. And it gives an opportunity, as Mrs. Lawrence said, a part of the healing and grieving process. And I think it's incumbent upon us to serve that need to the community.
I said all my thoughts in committee, so.
I said mine in committee too, but I still feel like I'd like to just say, like, if our counselors are telling us that having services, having funerals at the school is pulling tragedy too close to where education has to happen every day, and that it's causing trouble for some students, I've got to support that decision. I just feel like, if that's the feedback we're getting, I mean, I know
sure that there is that much feedback. I'm just, my God.
So
Yeah,
That's what we're hearing, and I know that that's been the case, and
Mrs. Canziani.
I was just gonna say, something I didn't say in committee is, since we started talking about this, I have had the pleasure to be in and around parents in the district, and every parent I asked said no.
No,
And I did not tell them my opinion, no services in the schools. So. That's just,
and I
thought to
think,
have.
yeah, I think obviously good people can disagree on this because I'm sympathetic to the idea that we can't just avoid things. But because students have to come to school to learn, like they don't have, there aren't other options for that, at least not great ones. I think that if it's causing a problem, and quantifying that is not easy, I understand, but I feel like I've got to lean in that direction, and, I think that there's many options for places to have end-of-life services, and there's not many options of places to have school.
Thank you. Any other
Yep.
communication?
So, first, I would agree that we certainly can agree to disagree. And in this particular case, I heard some reference to, responses that some students, felt ill at ease when these things happened within our buildings or on our grounds. But I didn't hear anything about all the people that it helped. And to the issue of, talking to people in the community and them saying, no, I don't think it's a good idea for us to have those things, on schools' grounds. I didn't do a survey to ask people, hey, is it a good idea? So there may be a lot of people out there that think it's a good idea. Certainly enough people that it has come up more than one time in a year where those types of requests have been made of the district to use our facilities for some type of memorial service, remembrance, whatever form that might be.
To clarify, I didn't ask, is it a good idea? I said, what are your thoughts about?
Thank you.
And if I may, to clarify, in terms of funeral services, I have said yes as a reversal of our non-use of the building for funeral services twice in 8 years. And to my knowledge, it has not happened before that for many years. So certainly funerals would be a different category. And we do those very, very few. And that is by far my most concerning issue.
Can I just add one extra, just one thing about doing, with brief, talking to people that have been through this and the students and doing a lot of research and reading this stuff. One of the things that the students say over and over again is that one of the biggest problems is that people don't want to admit it. They don't want to acknowledge it. They don't want to have these things, and that's what they need. So even though it is tough, that like Mr. Armada said, there's a large number of students who eventually, maybe not at the time, but eventually will benefit from having that healing, and that just, avoiding it isn't really the best option.
Can't see on it.
So do you think if we said we can have the services, my thought is that more people then would ask, right? So then we have to decide every other weekend if there's going to be a service at the school.
I will tell you that the reason I am bringing this to the board for consideration is because, quite frankly, it's my fault. We used to always say no, and then I tried to make an exception as it related to nearness of a district. And that was a mistake. And I acknowledge that publicly, and I acknowledge it to the families that we then said no to because of the level of disruption that it had. We're not saying no to funerals. There are plenty of places to have funerals where I am just recommending that we not mix up that part of life with the educational process. So that is why I am bringing it to the board, to have the matter resolved.
I'm gonna get in
Mr. Hyde.
trouble here, okay? Because the two people you turned down, I know them, I know the families, I know the situation, and I would tell you right now, in both cases, I would turn them down. This is not an issue about children, about the death of children or teachers, or these are people that are, for lack of a better term, looking for a place to celebrate the person's life. There are fields, there are, you could have a wake, there are plenty of events for that. When we talk about tragedies in the school, we bring in counselors, we bring in teachers. That is different than what you, and yes, you will open a Pandora's box of everyone saying, my mom taught here for 3 years, or my son attended school here and he was a great athlete. And suddenly you are having the entire community thinking every week I can have. And that's why I said my thing was about balloon launches and lanterns, because that's what happens, a celebration of lights. And people are looking for a place. If you charge them a fee that would be applicable, they probably would not ask. Okay, I'll say that as well too. All right,
Thank you. Mr. Hilton?
So much time has passed. Is a yes vote to say we're not gonna have funerals? Is that-
A yes vote is to say no funerals.
All right, thank you.
A no vote would be to say yes to.
All right, I like
it's
to,
not
I like
funerals,
to,
it's celebrations of life and memorial
So
service.
we call it
Whatever they are.
homegoing, whatever
Right,
anyone
but,
calls
but
them,
you-
that's
when
what
you
it
say
is.
the word funeral, I picture casket roll in.
I need to make it
It's
clear.
that as well.
I need to make it
It's that
clear.
as
It's
well.
that if your vote is yes or aye, you are in favor of this policy moving forward, saying we will not, as a district, host these services. If you are voting nay or no, you are saying no to this and you want policy 707 to strike, that we wouldn't disallow having these services. So a vote nay is yes to homegoing services, a vote yes is no to homegoing services. Is that clear for you? Yes means no, and no means yes in this scenario.
let's
If I
do
can
it
make
quick
that
before I
plain.
forget it.
Right.
I'd like to call the question if I can.
So, if we're done with dialogue,
Yes.
I would ask for a motion to accept.
So, second,
Thank you, and a roll call vote, please.
Yes, Heidel,
Yes.
Hilton,
Yes,
Kansas,
Yes.
Klein, Armada,
no,
Bearden,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Lawrence,
No,
that's. So that's, 5 yeses, 2 nos, 2 absent, motion carried.
Thank you. If at any point, the board chooses, in another year to review items, that is your permit. Okay, so we'll move on to 30.2, the bid award for the high school weight room. It is ESSER funded. I will ask for any communication needed. None. And I'd like a motion to accept.
so moved.
second,
Roll call vote, please.
Klein, Johnson.
Aye.
Lawrence.
Aye.
Armada,
Aye.
Bearden,
Aye.
Hilton,
Aye,
that's not here. Heidel,
yes.
Kansas,
Aye.
7 yeses, 2 absent, motion carried.
Thank you. Moving on to the CMD agreement, item 30.3 for the 24-25 school year. Could I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Bearden,
Aye.
Heidel,
No,
Klein, Johnson.
Aye.
Armada,
Aye.
Hilton,
aye,
that's not here. Kansas,
No.
no. That's, 5, I'm sorry,
Yes.
Five.
5 yeses, 2 nos,
Correct.
and, 2 absent, and motion carried.
Thank you.
Sorry.
It's okay. Moving on to the homestead farmstead exclusion resolution, item 30.4. Could I have any dialogue? None needed. Motion to accept.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Armada,
Aye.
Bearden,
Aye.
Hyden,
Aye.
Middleton,
Aye.
Consili,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
I'm not here. Lawrence,
Aye.
that's not here. 7 ayes, 0 nays, 2 absent, motion carried.
Thank you. Item 30.5, the 24-25 final budget as presented by Mrs. Oakley, please. Any dialogue? Thank you. Mr.
I
Hernandez.
actually, I do have one comment. Mrs. Oakley wanted me to let everyone know. As per our discussion, we will be including a separate resolution as it relates to the tax relief. The reason that we're not talking about it this evening is because after we came to a decision at the committee level, it went for legal review. And that actually will take a little bit longer because we're doing things a little bit different. We need to make sure that we're not accidentally violating the law. So Fox Rothschild and Mr. Kalis's associate said, folks, we need a little bit more time. So as we did last year, we'll simply make it part of the June meeting.
Okay, thank you for giving the clarification. The amount and the set aside remains the same. Resolution will be removed and is not included. So 24-25, could I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
A second, please.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Okay, Lawrence? Aye. Johnson?
Aye.
Consili,
Aye.
Middleton,
Aye.
Hyden,
Aye.
Bearden,
Aye.
Armada,
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays, 2 absent, motion carried.
Thank you.
That'll be the last time I hear about budget and, oh, or at least till December, right? Oh.
Good words. Election of board treasurer, item 30.6. I would like any discussion or any nomination at this time.
I nominate Mrs. Johnson.
Nice.
Does anyone else want to make a nomination? Nominations closed. Mrs. Johnson already has agreed, so I won't ask for that. Could I have a motion to accept
So moved.
in a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Okay, Bearden,
Aye.
Middleton,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Lawrence.
Aye.
Armada,
Aye.
Hyden,
Aye.
Consili.
Aye.
I'm not here, Lawrence, Ben's not here, so 7 ayes, 0 nays, 2 absent, motion carried.
Thank you. We are moving forward with item 30.7. It is the first settlement agreement. If you could please, any dialogue has already been held. If there's anything additional, please review. The time settlement agreement, motion to accept.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Okay, Middleton,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lawrence,
Aye.
Armada,
Aye.
Bearden,
Aye.
Hyden,
Aye.
Consili.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays, 2 absent, motion carried.
Thank you. There is an item that was added, 30.8, as mentioned by Mr. Kalis, for the second settlement related to personnel. Can I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
In a second.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Okay, Armada,
Aye.
Bearden,
Aye.
Hyden,
Aye.
Middleton,
Aye.
Consili,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Lawrence.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays, 2 absent, motion carried.
Thank you very much. Skipping down to number 34, information items, Mr. Rodriguez, please.
Yes, thank you again, Madam President. On the information, item 34.1, you'll notice the monthly meeting notices, still a lot going on in June, so please make note of that. 34.2, just to let board members know, as we have in the past, at the June meeting, we will be recognizing those staff members for our Music Education Award. It's a prestigious award. We won it a few years in a row. You'll hear more about that later, but just to let you know, that'll be part of the presentations. Finally, as always, we have Pottstown Pride, the winter edition. Mr. Armato, do you wish to add on to that?
I don't think so. You read all 59 pages of it and
We'll get the idea.
you'll get the idea. Proud to be from Pottstown.
And so you can consume knowledge and information slowly but daily, or get it all at once in the larger digest. That is all I have for information.
Thank you. So that said, we moving into Federation remarks. Don't see Federation representative. Are they virtual?
I'm here.
Thank you.
I'm not sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Sorry, I'm on two meetings right now at the same time. So I am gonna turn down this other one so that I can talk to you and give you my full attention. First of all, the Federation would like to thank the Board of School Directors and Mr. Rodriguez and everyone involved in tomorrow's in-service, our lunchtime out in the community, getting to know some of the newer places that we have not been to yet, and some of us going to our old stomping grounds like Los Aztecas. So it is very much appreciated. And it's been, I feel like this month has been the longest month of my entire teaching career of 30 years. So it's going to be great to reconnect with some people tomorrow. So much appreciated. We also wanted to talk about a couple different things. We wanted to congratulate all the students at Montco, those who have already participated in the program and those that are going into the program. Mr. Rashevitz does an amazing job with everything for the foundation. And we as teachers are very grateful that our students have this opportunity. When we talk about how many different things we don't have in Pottstown, this is one of the things that we have that others don't have. So it's really amazing for our students to be able to get a full year of college under their belt at no cost to them, and be able to only have to pay for 3 years for the most part in a 4-year school. So thank you, Mr. Rashevitz, for that. I wanted to talk about the conversation at the committee meeting about year-round school. The trend is not to be year-round school. You're going to get a lot of pushback from teachers. There's going to be a lot of concern about losing teachers to go to other districts. The stress of being in a classroom is enormous. As much as we love to do it, it is emotionally stressful, especially in a district that has so much trauma that our students have to deal with on a regular basis. And obviously it's also going to end up costing the district more money in the end to do something like that, keeping the heat on and keeping the air conditioning going and paying custodians and all of the things that go along with that. So we look forward to being part of a conversation when and if you start talking about the year-round school versus the trend of a 4-day school week and a virtual day of tutoring and various things like that. On another level, we are going into Keystones this coming week on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And yay, Keystones. PSSAs we're just, with all of the testing and the testing window in the spring and in the middle of the school year, I just want to put it out there that cell phones have been an enormous issue. There's been a lot of discussion I personally have been keeping track of the students in my classroom who are doing poorly. They are failing in other classes as well. And in conversations with my peers and in my notes that I take on a regular basis, all of the students in my class that are failing or almost failing have problems with cell phones. The lack of being able to pay attention to the teacher because they have to have their cell phone out, they have to make a TikTok on their way to the bathroom so they're not coming back in a timely manner. They're literally parents FaceTiming them in the middle of a student classroom day. It's a huge problem. And the teachers would like the board to consider what some other school districts are doing as far as banning cell phones. It really is an addiction. And with our district in such dire straits as far as ATSI and all of the different alphabet letters and everything that we're in trouble for, we think that there is a very large portion of students that would benefit from not being able to have cell phones. We don't know what that looks like. We don't know if that's handing in a cell phone on the way into a classroom during the class time, and then the students get it back in between classes and at lunch. But the data out there shows that there is there are very significant issues with students in an educational environment that are constantly on a cell phone. Are they useful for things like going on Kahoot or doing research? Yes, but that's not what is happening in classrooms. Spending a third of my 40-minute planning time writing up students or spending a third of my block of an hour and a half telling students to put your phone away, get back to work, stop making a TikTok. We're not watching Friends on Netflix. It's really impeding and impacting negatively the classroom setting. I think that if we could somehow figure out how to get control over the cell phones and the issue of them in the classroom setting, we would see our scores go up all the way across the board. And on a last note, yes.
Is this are you saying this is a federation recommendation?
Yes.
And could you give us a letter?
Absolutely. I certainly can put something out there. I know, like we've talked about, we're like, is there some kind of a scrambler that we can like make just like scramble the kids' phones and nobody else's? So we've been collecting data more so at the middle school and the high school, not really issues at the elementary school, not really too many issues with fifth grade. The fifth grade teachers have said like the kids leave them in their bags, they don't really have them out. But you know, the data just on cell phones and learning loss, as well as the physical detriments to the human brain, the part of the brain that controls empathy, in numerous medical studies has shown that shrinks the more people are on cell phones and social media. So physically, that part of the brain is smaller. And it's a concern. It's a concern when you have parents calling students in the olden days when I was a parent and, you know, my kids are out of school for a few years. If there was an emergency, you would call the office and the office would call the teacher's classroom and that student would go to the office. Now kids are literally just making phone calls, walking down the hallway, calling each other in classrooms, texting. It just seems to be getting worse and worse, and it's way worse since the pandemic. So yes, we gladly, I will get something together for all of you, and I will share the data that we have so far collected.
I'd like to point out that it's in the top of the New York Times bestseller list is a book by Jonathan Haidt about this whole this whole situation. A long article, it was an excerpt from the book in the Atlanta. And I'm wondering, not to put you on the spot, Mr. Rodriguez, but this might be an appropriate discussion for curriculum, the next.
As a matter of fact, I've already sent Mr. Rodriguez a couple of articles about this exact topic.
Okay.
One of them wouldn't be in the Mercury, would it?
No,
No? Oh, I'm surprised.
no.
Surprised I didn't see something like that in the Mercury.
No, we've already.
There was an editorial about it the other day.
Ask that
Yeah.
we do go ahead and place that.
Yeah, absolutely
for,
can be on my
um,
committee. I've already.
And we will move forward with Mrs. Yoder's comments. Thank you.
Okay, and then the last thing that I have to talk about, and this is more of a personal as well as Federation teacher kind of a fairness thing, if you will. As the softball coach, again, I've gone back to the softball field. I know Miss Johnson knows because her husband is helping with the middle school team. But you know, Mr. Rodriguez said, when you have more, you can do more. And when you have less, you do less. So as the varsity softball coach, you know, a varsity team, we're trying to compete. I know there have been discussions about the fields, and I just wanted to put it out there that our students, our softball players are the ones who are suffering because we have one softball field that is not really even in very good shape, doesn't drain. There are a lot of issues with it, but we have one softball field. We had an enormous amount of girls interested at the middle school. We had girls at the high school, and we have to split time on the softball field preseason. And then when the season starts, we have to practice somewhere else. So for instance, CMD took us down to Memorial Park, where the softball players played on a baseball field with grass in the middle of it, which is absolutely not what we needed. We just need dirt somewhere because softball fields, you know, have no grass on the infield. Then we were able to get down to Maple Street, but again, we're losing time with our players with travel time when we can't leave until 3:30. And the commitment for girls is till 5 o'clock because some of them have to go to work, some of them have to babysit. So when we were working with the middle school and the high school, we were splitting. So we had an hour of practice, and that literally makes it impossible to compete against the other schools in the pack because we don't have the tools that we need, which is honestly the space. I will run a backhoe and dig another field on the other side of the softball field if you need me to, but when you're discussing anything with athletic fields, we really strongly encourage looking at the situation with softball and how we can improve that for our students. Like, I'm going to play softball and coach them wherever we are. Doesn't matter to me where we are. They're still going to learn something, but they're going to be able to learn way more when they have the proper tools to do that. So have more, do more. I appreciate your time. And again, thank you for tomorrow and for lunch in our community. And that's everything.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Yoder. Have a good evening. And we will move into roundtable. We'll start with Mr. Hurdle. Mr. Hurdle.
Congratulations to the class of 2024. Are you gonna hold together during the speech?
Yes.
And I got the budget passed, and we have to hear about it. And yeah. Good month.
Thank you. Mr. Hilton.
Nothing, thank you.
Mrs. Johnson.
I want to say for one thing, listening to Elizabeth do the rundown of everything that's going on this month, I'm like, no wonder we're all so tired. Every parent I see, we're like, it's May and it's crazy. And teachers are the same. So, I won't elaborate on that too much other than to say I was at Lincoln's music night tonight, right before I came here, and they had a ginormous chorus, which was really exciting to see some of these programs really start to get traction again. Advocacy / property tax relief. Last night, Power had their event. We talked a whole lot about property taxes and why they're high and school board perspectives and realtor perspectives and economic development and legislators. It was very good. Just like May is the time when all the parents and teachers in school, everything is busy. It is this time where Harrisburg is busy. So I cannot not tell you again, please make sure that our representatives and state senator and governor know how much we need equitable funding, not just for our students, but for our taxpayers. Yeah, and I'll leave it at that. And Elizabeth, is this your last time with us?
Yes.
Congratulations, and it's been
Yeah.
wonderful having you.
Thank you. Mrs. Lawrence.
Whatever my name is at this point, I don't know.
I was gonna call you Susan and I
You
started.
called me that. I like that better
I tried to
anyway.
be more formal. Thank you. So, no, Mrs. Lawrence.
Just a couple quick things. May is National Mental Health Awareness Month, so I just wanted to mention that. And I think in along with the cell phones and what Mrs. Yoder was saying about the effect on academics, I also think there's an effect on that social, emotionally as well. And I think we would definitely it would be a good thing to look into ways to deal with that. And that's also my way into saying again, how grateful I am for all the different, all the counselors and that we're refunding them and doing that. I think we still have a lot more to do. I think one of the biggest things we have is educating teachers and staff and parents about what the signs of this is, because I still think a lot of times they don't recognize the signs that some of our kids are stressed out about. And it's been bad since COVID. You can see it. And so I'm glad that that's what this month is. So I'm going to throw that out there. And also, again, congrats. I was lucky enough to be at award night. That's always a fun night. That's great. And my early college students, I get to know almost all of them and they're amazing. Again, having them in class, they not just hold their own, they often are doing better than some of the college freshmen. So they're awesome to have there. And I'm lucky to get them, and especially you, Elizabeth. So congratulations.
Thank you. Mr. Armato.
So every month Elizabeth throws down this challenge of telling you everything that's going on in the district, and then we get to Johnny and what the heck they have to say. Well, I found a couple that you didn't know. So in the category of advocacy that Mrs. Johnson spoke about, and in the category of us trying to encourage our students to be civically engaged, at that meeting the other night, at that town hall meeting, there were 5 Pottstown High School students that were members of the newly formed Pottstown NAACP organization, along with their sponsor, Dr. What is that guy's name again? Paris. Along with Dr. Paris. And I will say that they walked away with a better understanding of what the world's about, and became an opportunity for them to become more engaged. In the category of community service engagement, this past weekend, we had a number of our students, along with Hill School students that are part of the Pottstown Cares organization, out in front of the high school, along with Mr. Hilton, planting 25 trees as part of a new tree garden that we're going to have. And again, clear example of good community service. At the same time they were doing that, on the other side of the building, Mrs. Bieber was with our Pottstown High School Gardening Club, helping to build the vegetable garden, which we have in the courtyard. And that food's going to be used in a number of ways, but one of them is to support organizations that address food insecurity. So 2 great events. I think I'll probably do a post on both of them together. On May the 23rd, Reading Phillies will be recognizing Pottstown Night. I have a lot of free tickets if anybody wants to go. Just see me, and likewise, I will put free tickets out at the reception desk. Anybody in the community wants to come get tickets to that May 23rd game. And the feature of that game will be the person who throws out the first pitch of the game, and that'll be Dr. Paris.
Worthy candidate.
Worthy. I know
Very
the two of you arm wrestled for the,
Mhm.
yeah.
Dr. Paris is a
You might have
graduate
let
of
him.
Pottstown, and our new administrator, I couldn't be more pleased that he gets that honor.
I did talk about the gardening club last week.
Last month. Yeah, last month. This is this month. This is this month.
And there it is. Welcome to the young ones
Yeah,
taking
that's right.
control.
Oh.
Thank you very much, leaders of
You did say this
tomorrow.
at your last meeting.
Okay, I'm not. Okay. Mrs. Kaptianic, please.
I had the pleasure last week of spending a full week with a bunch of our sixth graders at North Bay in Maryland. It was, they had us out there hiking with bugs and in yucky water. But the kids, the kids though, to see them in an element that they're never been in, probably will never be in again. Was really nice. They took good, healthy risks. They conquered fears. They went, on zip line and the one kid was like, I'm so afraid of heights, but they wanted to do it with their peers. To see them interacting with other schools, it was fascinating. It was a great time. Hopefully future, sixth graders get to do it because it was really like a life. Like they're gonna carry that with them forever, I think. And I think that was it. And I don't think Elizabeth mentioned that either.
Oh, now we're ganging up on you.
Now, wait a minute, we're on the same team. What happened?
Say, I'm done with you guys.
Okay, you want me out?
We love you.
Follow me all the way to Villanova, right? Yeah.
We love
But you're a Trojan first. Mr. Rodriguez.
Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Bearden. Not that I want to break up the rap battle going on here, but I do want to, first of all, not repeat anything that's already been said, even though there have been some wonderful emotions expressed, but I wish to just move in a different direction and talk about appreciation. Appreciation for our students who have risen to the challenge of the new instructional things that we are asking them to do. Appreciation for our staff, who, as Mrs. Yoder talked about a little bit, they want to do their very best, and that definitely wears on them. And appreciation for our administrative team, who I am often asking them to get tons of information on lots of different subjects, as well as doing the hard work of talking to all of our parents and community members and setting up new programs and implementing with the very best effort that we can. And finally, appreciation for all of you, as tonight is clear evidence. Working out some of these hard issues in terms of running schools is difficult. Tonight demonstrates what I often go through on a daily basis when faced with very, very difficult and emotional issues. And it sometimes puts us on different sides of the room. But as I indicated before, your administrative team, as well as your staff, appreciate the hard work that you do. And when you say something, we do it. And we want you to know that we respect you as the authority figures of this community. And we appreciate all that you do to invest in making sure that there are wise actions taken so that we can make it to the next post, whatever that is, 1 year, 2 year, 10 year, a generation away. So thank you for your leadership. Thank you, Mrs. Beard.
Thank you. So that's 3 down that I can't speak on because
sorry.
That's okay. I will reiterate what Mr. Rusevich said as far as foundation and the new donor piece, the Gene Whistler Fund, which that piece, any donors going into that will help to support our female students. And that is a big fight that we have been pushing for several years. And it's showing because our girls are now able to be wrestlers. They're able to be involved in other ways. We have a volleyball team. We now have a bowling team. And that, of course, those are co-ed, but the fact that our young people are able to engage in different ways I believe we have a, gamer organization. These are items and areas where students may not have found a niche someplace else, but they found one in that, and that helps them to remain engaged in our district and in their studies. Those things, a lot of times are benchmarks for those students because they have to keep a certain grade, a certain cum in order to play or to participate. And those students would be able to do it without that, right? But sometimes they just need that encouragement to say, hey, you need to do this, and so they go ahead and engage and they show and prove that their cum is here already. They're intelligent students. So I would appreciate that. First, I want to thank all of the donors who are already donating to the foundation and to other areas that support our students and that support our district. And I'm encouraging those donors, whether private or public, to continue encouraging other donors to go ahead and support our students, and we will do right and be proper stewards of those finances in accordance with what the foundation allocates for our staff members on behalf of our students. That also said, I would like to thank Mr. Rodriguez as well as the rest of the team for the things they have put forth for our school year, our upcoming school year. He has given the thanks and appreciation for the current school year, but as we have tried to be planning and planners and have proper information on schedules for parents to be able to start and plan and schedule around this upcoming school year, that's important and that should be noted, as well as the small businesses who have been continuously opening up and supporting our students and our staff in various ways. I would like to thank them as well. And to the board for continuing to do the work that's difficult. You know, we're not here to necessarily always agree, and we do a lot of vetting in community in committee meetings. So it's important that if anyone wants to chime in and provide their information, their feedback, we do want to hear that, and we appreciate that level of engagement. Also would like to say a thank you to the leads of the co-curricular activities. A lot of times we only really give recognition to the coaches when they win. We need to give recognition for the coaches when they lose, because losing is not always losing. Sometimes it's winning because they're gaining a good relationship, a strong foundation with students who may not otherwise have it, even in the best household. Sometimes they are easily, more readily identified to those coaches, but also to those co-curricular, extracurricular events that are like HOSA and DECA and National Honor Student Society, and to band and choir, art, to all of those things. And I don't want to miss any, but we have a slew of them now. And we need to also be elevating those leads in those areas for the things that they're doing privately. That they necessarily don't get the appreciation for. Our students have held their own in various items, including in Anaheim, and they will in the upcoming area of Texas, I believe, for HOSA. So continue to keep those leads uplifted and encouraged as we do for our awesome music team and administrators. So that said, if anyone else has anything to say that I've omitted, I will leave the final word to Elizabeth, who is parting with us.
I wanted to cry. Just want to say thank you to everyone in this room. Actually, thank you. I've seen myself grown for the last 2 years, and I remember the first day that I did this. Mark was not here, and he just left me. He was like, "Good luck." That's not good. But I remember I was so scared. I was trembling. I was scared, but I got through it, and I've seen myself improve. I've learned so many things from everyone. I feel like whenever I come into this building and meet everyone, I feel like, yeah, I'm a grown up too. I'm just learning so much, and I'm so happy. Like I can. It's different when you're learning with students and one teacher is teaching you And it's different when you're actually in the real life, because when you really hear and you're learning and you're seeing how it actually works. It's different and I love it. I love it so much. And I just, thank you. I really don't know what to say. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
Very good.
thank you. We appreciate you and we look forward to seeing everyone on the promenade for prom tomorrow night, right? So thank you, Elizabeth, and more power to you forward at Villanova. So that said, could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A second? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
So is this